All right. It is time, guys. SB here. Welcome to the Scent Bubble. We've got a lot to cover right now, so I just want to dive right in, but I do want to start by saying this. This review will be unlike any review you've seen online, and I know because I've seen them all. I've been sitting back in the cut, listening to what everybody's been saying, and this is going to be a different take than what you guys have seen so far, but it will be the most informative. After this video, you will not need to watch another as it pertains to this fragrance right here. And I just want to also say that at the end of the day, guys, I'll say some wild stuff and I'll have some varying opinions, and I'm going to push the envelope and be authentic to who I am and maintain the authenticity and honesty of who I am on this channel. And at the end of the day, my work will speak for itself. You'll be able to see the track record of my honesty and transparency with you guys. And the benefit that you guys have on a channel like this is I don't just make claims, I back them up. And so today, I'm going to tell you my thoughts, and I'm going to back it up with credible information that you can experience on your own. With that being said, this is the bad boy of the evening. Day 3 fragrances, Edge of Eden, one of the most anticipated reviews you guys have been asking me for since its release, and I'm ready to talk now. I spent a lot of time prior to the release with this fragrance, and since its release, I have worn it a lot. Okay, story behind Edge of Eden. I'm just going to give you a simple one-liner. Edge of Eden straddles the line between paradise and provocation, clean and creative, perfectly wearable, but quietly dangerous. And then factor that in with the title, Edge of Eden. You're on the edge of the Garden of Eden. So it's almost like right before it all breaks loose and life starts going and the trajectory changes for human history. You're right on the edge of paradise and entering into chaos is the way I take it. I don't know what to classify this as other than a metallic scent, almost like a luxurious aromatic metallic, but that's my own personal touch. They didn't, list that or anything like that. I've got some notes here that I'm just going to fly through because there's a lot to talk about. What do I want to say? Yeah, and people have had a lot to say or nothing to say about this fragrance, and so hopefully at the end of this review, you guys will just get a whole fresh, different perspective, because I do think there's a such thing as not being ready for a scent. And I think many of you might find yourselves in a situation when you engage with this fragrance and start trying it out, where if you're underprepared mentally or where you're at in your journey, or you're just uninformed, you may not experience this fragrance to its full potential. It's amazing for how simple it is and how versatile it is, how complex or head scratchy it might make you feel if you've never smelled a scent like this. Okay. Let's get in initial impressions on Edge of Eden. I'm at almost half of a traveler, so I've rocked about 5 ml of it. I really don't think you should try this fragrance on a test strip, even though I will here for today. Also going to apply it to skin pretty graciously. With scents like these, getting the full distribution of a full-size atomizer is essential, especially with quieter, lower projection fragrances. I find that you need a massive amount of dispersion on skin. So if you have this or the decant, really blast your body to really get the true longevity, to make out all the nuances of such a quiet scent profile. That would be seriously to your benefit, and I'll break that down a little bit further later. So the test strip, just to go through a couple of quick notes on the scent profile, I believe there's peppermint, a metal accord, hot steam, osmanthus, apple. That seems to be the main breakdown of it is this kind of apple metallic with aromatic floral touches and things like that. The test strip kind of gives you more of that crisp, cold, clean feel. Whereas I find on skin, it really does heat up into more of a neutral temperature. I don't get a lot of the cold airness, but I do get this kind of neutral, slight breezed, um, metallic aromaticness to it. It's nothing like any of the metallics you're used to. If you're coming off of any of the Gucci's or the Invictus style, this is of a much higher caliber. You get that day three luxury feel. There's just something, I don't know if it's due to the musks, there just seems to be a unifying accord within a lot of the day three fragrances where the moment you spray them, no matter how different the scent profile is from one another, you get this luxuriousness and this fanciness no matter what the DNA is no matter what it's smelling like. It smells fancy, it smells top notch, and that day three quality is definitely in here. So even for a metallic, right off the bat, you're hit with a sense of intentionality. No matter how simple the scent profile feels initially, you get the sense that this is art for sure, and that it's luxurious, it's fancy, it feels expensive. You can definitely separate the quality of this type of metallic from anything you've ever smelled at the designer level. And yeah, I mean, the peppermint that you read into, I think just provides an interesting lift. I mean, I think sometimes it plays with my nose, like you get a kind of breezy coolness to it, but it's not like a cold air to me. It actually quite warms up to like if you wave your hand like this in the air, that's the temperature of the air, is just kind of like either neutral or slight chill. You do get a very much crisp apple feel, but it's nothing like any apple that you've ever tried. If you're thinking forbidden apple, Chris Collins, this is nothing like that. It's almost like either a Granny Smith or something like that without any sweetness. Like it's got a natural 1 out of 10 sweetness from air type of thing. Like, how crisp air can smell slightly sweet at times. But the main reason I'm talking about that is because the apple, it's almost like a sugar-free apple where you get the flavor palette of this kind of almost tart but smoothly, naturally sweet apple. But because the metallic accord is so prominent here, it's very much most of the fragrance. The apple kind of wraps around that and it becomes less appley, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know if I didn't tell you there was apple in this, you would know, type of thing. So it's very well blended. But yeah, you get kind of a sugar-free Granny Smith apple to my nose, kind of smooth ninja-like, almost velourish, metallic type of scent profile. And then it's aromatic in almost like a floral and herbal touches in the back by like less than 10%. Very, very unique smell. And a scent like this is almost artistic in a way because it really cuts through the noise of a lot of familiarity. That's another thing I noticed with this scent off of initial impression, is that like it's not something where you're going to be like, oh, I smell this. It's actually quite a minimal scent. I compare this scent to like, when you used to see the petri dishes of, anything, right? And then you put it doesn't look like much, but then you put it under a microscope, and the more you wear this, the more it's like looking into a microscope and things start to illuminate and the fanciness comes out, the texture comes out. I would classify this as like a minimalist luxury scent. So they're doing a lot with a little amount of things going on. So that's why wearing it more gets you past your initial fantasy stage to be able to make out the textural and DNA, profile nuances of a scent like this. But I remember the first time I smelled this, I didn't really know what to think of it because I don't have a lot of scents like it. And that threw me down a rabbit hole of finding tons of scents in the family of this metallic style, which we'll talk about later. Okay, so that's my initial impression, is just that it feels like It's attempting to be a super versatile Four Seasons luxury metallic minimalist type of scent. Um, and we know the marketing for this was, I saw two main pieces of marketing. Michael, with the razor blade in the apple. And then we also saw the magic trick video where he swallowed the blade as well, which I think that plays into who Michael Paul has been, which was a magician prior, but even just this is like mysteriously magical. For like it's almost like somebody took a simple metallic profile and just sprinkled fairy dust on it. It's got that kind of mysterious, luxurious fantasy quality approach to a simplistic, minimalistic, floral, metallic type of scent. For some reason, the apple feels somewhat citric, like almost like how a bergamot would feel. But it does have this kind of red crisp sweetness, as if you're biting into an apple. So it's got that naturally sweet initial, you know what I'm saying, that sweetness that you would get, but it's not fully like that because it's wrapped around the metal, so it even loses some of its sweetness there. But the more this maturates and the more that you apply it, the more you will make out a level of sweetness that is quite necessary and nice. It's very nice. Let's see. Public perception has been really interesting with a scent like this. Like, I've seen two main reviews of this. Either somebody will come across this and say, oh, it does terrible on my skin. This metallic is crazy. All I get is the metal and the steam, and it doesn't work for me. And then on the other side of the fence of people who actually like it, it's more of a curiosity type of interest in this scent as they're wearing it. They're smelling it more like artwork, and this, it's artisanal, and I remember EQ, Quality Fragrances, shout out to him, did the best review of this fragrance in terms of giving you guys quality information to get a sense of what this smells like. He said, this is perfumery, meaning, this is an art piece. This is what we're in it for, to smell innovation and things that push the envelope. This very much does that. But yeah, that's the second type of person who smells this, is somebody who, and EQ aside, because he's the rare exception to this, most people just said, oh, the apple, the metal, I kind of get the steam, and oh, the peppermint, and they just kind of parroted the note pyramid. I think this is the type of scent that you can struggle with the words to describe it unless you've smelled a lot of things in your lifetime and have thought through that process of smelling different things. I could find this to be a type of scent you're lost for words about. Whether that's positive or negative is up for you to decide, but those are the two camps of stuff. People who parrot the note pyramid because they don't know how to describe a fragrance like this, but they're curious and interested in it. And then the other people who, because they don't have the vocabulary or maybe even the capacity or at a certain stage in perfumery where they've smelled challenging things, they disregard it. It's like, if I don't understand it right away, I don't like it, so that's what I've noticed about public perception. And so that's why I'm doing such a thorough review, is to give you guys, I want you guys to smell this through the screen. And so it's going to take me a while to get there. This threw me down a metallic rabbit hole, and I want to show you how. I not all of these are metallics, but this kind of like nothingness air with a whole lot of aromatic swag and scent profile threw me down the rabbit hole of wanting to get many fragrances that are in the family of this. So these are the fragrances I think about when I think of Edge of Eden. Lalique White, which is a super aromatic, all-time quarterback, everything masculine in a scent type of profile. You've got your super most clean, neutral, almost smells like nothing, bergamot bamboo, office-friendly fragrance in Starwalker. I even think a little bit about Terre de Hermes Eau de Toilette, Aqua de Parma, Colonia Pura, the pure heavenly sweet air. We've got Speed Legends Night Drive, Chanel Egoist, which I think it's the most like, but these are definitely two different personalities. Ahmed Al-Maghribi, I believe, Cough, maybe this might be Latafa. This is the most juvenile, cheapest version of a scent profile like this. And then an airy floral. So these all kind of follow either a metallic path, a pure aromatic path, or a floral path. But they all kind of resemble this minimalist take on an aromatic, swagged out fresh air. And so these are the fragrances that I either acquired or have been smelling alongside this to kind of make sense of people who have gone down this path before. And really, it's like, in my mind, this is kind of, if you said, hey, SB, you know, what does this fragrance smell most like? The cheapest style of this type of scent would be Cough, and Kaaf. And the reason I'm bringing this up, guys, is because I think when you guys initially smell this, you'll be like, I've never smelled something like that before. But I'm here to tell you, you have. There's a lot of scents that are like it that are very popular in the marketplace. CK1, super popular. Colonia Pura, super popular. Even you clone guys, Cough has been so well received, and they even dropped the flank, which is Cough Noir, which you guys have really been digging that. But this is kind of that Invictus with swag, metallic, and you guys are familiar with this. This is just a super, super elevated, luxurious, artistic take on this metallic. But these three feel close. So again, when we get to alternatives, if you're broke, you know, this is a great entry point. But to me, these guys are brother and sister. Platinum Egoist is one of my favorite versatile metallics, and I really don't think anything on the market is beating this. And I will say this, this feels like the cold, more aromatic emphasized version of this, but this feels warmer and like the more magical approach. So this almost has like a classical fougere aromatic lift, but it's super modern due to its weight and blend. And this feels, again, like fairy dust metallic to me. So they brother and sister share the same last name, have some of the same features, but are two completely different personalities and genders. That's what these are. This kind of represents the more fancy schmancy, almost romantic metallic in an odd way, whereas this represents kind of all games, no play. And it's a bit greener as well. I would wear this in Manhattan with a suit coming out of a limousine. And I mean business. I work on Wall Street, no games being played, but I am going to smell expensive as crap because I am. This is more of something you want to wear in close proximity around people. And this is the more guy that is of the same caliber as this guy, but way more approachable. There's an odd, almost romantic allure about this type of versatile, inoffensive smell. But yeah, these are the closest in terms of if you said, what does this smell like, SB? The rare exception being Speed Legends Night Drive is somewhat oddly in the middle of these. It represents conservative and a futuristic, exotic metallic smell, but all three of those are completely different. I think if you had Speed Legends Night Drive, Platinum Egoist, and this, you would never buy a metallic for the rest of your life because they would be so hard to beat and you'd have all the bases covered. Seasons, this is 4 seasons. Oh, I wanted to mention this. So sorry, but I'm giving you guys info. Look at this. Platinum Egoist has one of the biggest distribution coverages I've ever seen, and I find with minimalist scents for that to be so necessary. If you try this on, cake yourself all over your body with the sprays and let it sit down. That's going to help your longevity, your projection. Also spray it away from the neck. The further away from the nose this is, the least likely you are to go anosmic to it, but also to be able to get a longer longevity experience because it's not just pushing right up your nose. So spray the arms, spray the body and all that. Really cake on the sprays with this and then let it work. But I imagine that it's unfortunate because I think you need a full-size presentation to really enjoy all the nuances of how good this scent actually is. Um, with the smaller atomizers, the coverage is a lot less, and for a minimal scent, that doesn't do it justice. So make sure you're actually fully blasting yourself with the Traveler or the smaller decant when trying this. Otherwise, you may smell nothing. Um, but yeah, so I just found that to be cool. With this scent, they really made sure you got a ton of coverage on your body with it being a minimalist scent. And because of that, I smell this quite well and it performs quite well. I think that's going to be the same case with Edge of Eden. All right, we've got a couple of quick things and then we're going to wrap up here. I need to double check the camera because this is a long video. Okay, we're already approaching 20 minutes. Let's go ahead and wrap up with some stuff here. So, layerability. I think this is a Four Seasons wear. I think it leans masculine just in the tiniest bit. It is truly unisex to my nose, but with metallics, I find that to be more of a masculine lean. So I think a woman could enjoy this, especially with the little tucked in the back sweetness that it offers. But you'd have to be a woman that's comfortable with metallics. So I'm calling this a unisex masculine lean. And it's really ageless, though due to the artistic nature and its minimal nature and its luxurious nature, I feel like even in the masculine category, it's at least going to be 20 plus, and I'm being generous by going that low. Layerability. This is one of the most layerable scents possible. I've worn this a lot by itself and I enjoy it by itself. But man, let me tell you, I have found some freaking amazing layers for this. First and foremost, this layer is lethal. Chanel Platinum Egoist and Edge of Eden together, oh my gosh. Due to the nature of this scent profile though, you can go any direction. This layers with florals, this layers with musks, aromatics, herbals, citrus, fruits. This almost functions how Molecule 1 should have. Like, there's so much more of a smell experience to this than something like a Molecule 1, and yet it almost works like a Molecule 1 because you can airbend and manipulate this scent to do whatever you want if you want a little extra oomph. This has layered with almost every type of note style that I've tried, and it has smelled incredible. It's just something about this that makes anything I put it on incredible. It's like, Frank's hot sauce, Cholula, barbecue. I mean, you just want it on everything, right? So just on layerability alone, that changes everything with this. Even if you're somebody who likes to not be that fragrant, this is amazing for you because you can just knock down the sprays and start combining this with oils. Like, just take different oils and play with them and you'll get a new result each time. Again, tons of layers that are going to go in my ebook from this, and I don't know what I've enjoyed more, layering it or wearing it by itself. And lastly, I want to touch on, I said Desert Rain was the best fragrance in the entire Day 3 lineup, and you guys looked at me crazy. But then when it all played out, most of you men out there do love Desert Rain more than anything in the set. It's not the most flashy, it's not the most fancy, it's not the most sweet. It just is the most versatile, and it's one of the only decisively masculine, though they call it unisex, this is my opinion, fragrances in the entire lineup. And this, to me, sits up there in the top ranks because of the versatility, and the layerability alone allow you to do so much with this scent, guys. It's scary, and maceration and oxidation does benefit this scent, and wearing it for longer seems to give me more joy and more understandability and become more of a Swiss Army knife the more I understand how to use a fragrance like this. Even though I think it's perfect for just about any occasion, it can literally go casual to formal, and with the manipulation factor, you can make it do anything that you want it to do. price is $170, though there's always a discount code around in the day 3 world, so it can probably go down to the $150 price point. Also, it makes sense for you guys to get the discovery set for, I believe, $60 these days, because they keep adding to the set. You pay your $60 for the discovery set, they give you a voucher back towards your bottle. So if you pay 60, they give you 60 when you go to buy your bottle, and then the discovery set's basically free. Well, I mean, it is free. So there's no price proposition like that, I think, in the game where they're offering you full price back and essentially giving you a free discovery set. So try it, throw it all over your body, enjoy the rest of the line, and then put that credit towards a bottle. Or they typically always have some sort of influencer code or their own code where you can probably knock that 170 down to 150. I think it's perfectly priced. It probably should be priced at more, just due to the versatility of a fragrance like this. I'm hoping a lot of you guys don't go near this scent, so I just have some extra copies, because I think I'm definitely going to get a bottle. I think I just have to. I've just had, initially I didn't know how to understand it, but since, for wearing it for months, I've truly grown and fallen in love with this scent. Alternatives, anything that's here, but I think the closest experience to this is going to be Platinum Egoist. But all these alternatives are kind of metallic, white, floral, crisp air type of scents to work with. I don't think you're going to get right in the family of this outside of Platinum Egoist. It's close, but they're two completely different personalities. So there really is no alternative to this. This has an odd amount of compliment factor. Like, not for nothing, I didn't know how people were going to receive this, so I didn't ask, but I intentionally, whenever I wore this scent, and the opening just gets better and better, it's almost slightly powdery as well. I intentionally walk up to people at work and, am around people when I go to the store. I kind of get close to people when I'm walking by, just to kind of see the feedback. I need feedback on this. And when I've shown this to people on the test strip, they're not fans of it. For the most part, I get an insane amount of compliments off this. Like, I don't want to say like, oh my gosh, Trace Oros level of compliments, but it's actually shocked me. It's even funny, like some of my coworkers, I've showed it to them on the test strip. They're like, that's not it, right? And then a week later or something, I'd be wearing it and they'll be like, you smell really good today. There's an odd compliment factor with this. You might not like it on you, but people will love it on you. And I can't even tell you why. It's just, there's some kind of magic to it. It's clean, it's luxurious, it's head scratching, it'll stop you in your tracks. That's been my experience. Is I'm like, man, I don't think anyone's even gonna know I have this on. And I've gotten several compliments wearing it. It's quite, shocking to me. And let's wrap up here, guys. Edge of Eden, I'm at a 9 out of 10 with it. And I'm trying not to glaze, because I don't know. I'm not in a place where I can call it a 10 out of 10 masterpiece to me, but man, it is a heck of a good time. I think a lot of you guys will walk past this, and if so, I'm fine with that, because I'll take your bottle. But I think a lot of you guys who have interacted with this scent so far have gotten it wrong. You're not ready for it, or you just you feel uncomfortable sitting with fragrances for a while. I will admit, when I first put this on, you get the day 3 luxury feel, but I'm past the fantasy stage with a lot of houses. You know what I'm saying? I know what to anticipate, and I know I'm self-aware enough to not, glaze or just be wowed by the opening. But I really didn't know what to do with this. As I started researching and smelling other fragrances and isolating it and layering it and doing all this stuff, I started to really gravitate to this. And it is just a super versatile, unique scent in the marketplace. Shout outs to Michael Paul for being daring enough to make such a minimalist scent luxurious and in the family of all their bangers. To make something like this, it is ballsy, especially, I'll just leave it at that. Like, to do something like this right now at where they are in their trajectory, I feel is like highly controversial, but like, shout outs to them for doing that. just being daring enough to go after a profile like this. But yeah, I think a lot of you guys need to spin the block back on this. And whether you like it or not, hopefully the information in this video was helpful for you in deciding if this is something you might want to try. I think you guys should try it, because if you're into Invictus or the metallic Gucci's and, you know, cough fragrances like this, if you're interested in Speed Legends and Platinum Egoist, you have to try this. But I think even Platinum Egoist, for a while, I just wasn't into it early on in my fragrance journey because I didn't understand it. And now it's just like the most dumb reach, luxurious, versatile, clean wear ever. But yeah, this is clean, pristine, magical, oddly aromatic, mysteriously inviting. And I think people love it on my skin, even though I'm still like figuring it out and stuff. Just what I've uncovered so far, it's easily a 9 out of 10 for me. And I hope you guys got enough information to experience that yourself. All right, that's my review, guys. Again, my work will speak for itself. I don't just make claims. I walk them down and give you my thought process. And I hope I gave you enough information to decide, you know, whether or not you want to get your nose on Edge of Eden from Day 3 fragrances. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on that notification bell. Talk to me. I do talk back. I appreciate y'all. Love y'all and hope you have a blessed rest of your week. Until next time, peace.